Welcome to the MuseCast, where we squeeze every last drop of inspiration out of Sunday's sermon.
Whoa, Dan,
Yes.
the hydraulics on that chair, they're getting intense. It kind of looked like you were about to disappear into your shelves again.
Well, this chair has been great, but every few days I'll hear this little tink 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 tink, tink, and this little ball bearing will fall from the chair and roll on my floor. I have no idea where it's coming from, and it's been doing that for a year. There's an infinite supply of ball bearings in this
ball
chair.
Bearings in that
and
chair.
And it still works fine. So
hey now. There you go.
Good chair.
Well, you just be careful. I just don't, I don't need you crashing into things back there and getting injured.
Thank you.
I really just say that because I don't want to be covering for you. It's purely selfish.
Yeah. Oh man. there's that agape again. I tell you.
Others oriented, that Shawna is.
That's right. Yes.
Oh goodness. Well, I do mean this from the bottom of my heart. Happy Muse Day.
Happy Muse Day.
Yeah. We have come through a time of year where there's a lot of, for many people, gathering and eating and napping. And You know what I love, Dan Kent? I did not for 1 minute feel pressure, and nor did I participate in any of the shopping shenanigans.
Nice.
Didn't feel the pressure to do it, and I didn't do it. I was cozy in my home and just enjoying the people around me.
Yeah. I didn't do any crazy shopping either, and we also enjoyed the cozy home and watched some movies and a few Columbo episodes.
Ooh, nice.
Yep.
Let me ask you this: since 'tis the season, it is the holiday season. It is Christmas time. We just started our Christmas series, and so in the spirit of that, what would you say if you had to pick? What would you say is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, I mean, how do I measure that?
I know.
That's tough to. There's one of the Scrooges is really good. The 1981 one. I can't remember which one it is. I like that one, but I mean, Christmas Vacation is just.
I was gonna say it's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's just
I thought you and I were on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, I want to have an intelligent answer. I
know. Really meaningful, heartfelt. No.
Yeah.
Did I tell you a few years ago I showed that to my kids because I thought they're old enough. They'll totally get the cleverness of it, and they hated it.
That's amazing.
My daughter was like, don't ever show me that again.
Wow.
What? Are you my child? Because, oh my gosh. I'm cracking up laughing. They're not laughing.
That's amazing.
They're annoyed at him, and they just can't stand it. It's hilarious.
Yikes. Yeah, that's sad. I mean, I think that means that they're shipping us out. That's kind of you and me and our generation.
So.
We're kind of being shipped out now.
Yeah,
have fun.
I agree. Well, and it's kind of like what I feel like, because Greg's been telling us about, is it Mr. Magoo's Christmas or something?
Right.
I don't even know what it is. But it's his favorite, and it is near and dear to his heart. And he's like, he told me today, he's like, I watched it this weekend, and it's just so great, and it just feels so good. And Shawna, you have to see it. And I was like, I don't want to see it. No.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord. Anyway. Happy Muse Day, everyone. We are so glad that you're here. Dan Kent, Shawna Boren, and we kicked off Fulfilled.
Yes.
Unfulfilled is a different series.
Yes, it is.
We're not doing that one.
No.
We're doing Fulfilled.
Yeah.
And as much as I love that Dan beautifully got up 2 Sundays ago to tell people, hey, we're going to go, you're going to feel a bit of a revelation drought because we have our Christmas series coming up, and then we're going back into another discipleship series, Love Does. And so it'll be a minute before we get back into Revelation. But what does Gregory Boyd do?
Of course. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I will say it did tie in nicely.
It did.
So
It did. And
kudos there. And
he controlled himself pretty good too. So, yeah.
for sure, for sure. So he talked to us about the serpent and the star. Week 1
Yes.
fulfilled.
Yes. So is that my cue?
That's your cue.
Oh,
because
okay,
honestly, good. Dan, if you leave it to me, I'm going to start calling this series Unfulfilled, and that is not what we're doing.
Yeah. A lot of the competing churches in the neighborhood, their series are called Unfulfilled. Ours
We're doing
is Fulfilled.
Unfulfilled.
Yeah,
Yes.
If you want fulfillment, you've come to the right place.
That's right.
That's right.
That's it.
Good. Well, yes, the serpent and the star is that what you have for the title? The serpent and the star?
Serpent and the star. That's what I
'Cause
got.
we were wrestling with the title, and I couldn't remember if we landed on that or not. And so Greg starts off. Oh, first of all, we got to say that bumper was so cool, wasn't it?
So cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I loved it. So clever. The kids did a great job. It was so great.
And I think each week is going to reveal a little bit more, so it's going to be different each week. So that's super cool.
It's a progressive revelation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I encourage people. Some people might just daydream during the bumper, but watch the bumper. And
you want to tune into that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So then after the really cool bumper, Greg kind of did the series setup where the series is fulfilled, and we're really looking at how technically we're looking at the prophecies that prophesied the coming of Jesus, and which Christmas is all about. And so those prophecies are fulfilled in that way, in that technical way, but also we are looking at how the fulfillment of that promise ultimately fulfills us and fulfills the hope of the world. And so with that, Greg launched into the series, and he started off, I think, making an important distinction about, we have to think about what we mean by prophecy, because it's really easy to get into sort of new agey type magical thinking about prophecy, as if this was all like a big trick that the prophets and God were doing to kind of impress us into faith. And that's not the case. What that would be what Greg referred to as divination, where you're just trying to kind of do tricks, basically. And oftentimes people would do divination for self-centered reasons, where they want to know what the future is so that they can somehow profit off of it in one way or another, either financially or politically or whatever. But the prophecies of the Bible are there not for self-centered reasons. In fact, the prophets didn't really get much out of it at all. They were really sharing what God told them to share, to give people hope and to compel people to trust in God's faithfulness and his sovereignty. And so that's sort of what the prophecies of the Bible are. Really, the prophecies are a promise, and they tap into God's trustworthiness. And I think what Greg did which was really good, is he looked at these and he said, let's take a look at these prophecies. And he just points out 2 in this first sermon. Let's look at what they say, and then also let's look at how they say it. And that ends up being really interesting, I thought. So the first prophecy that he looks at is from Genesis 3, where Adam and Eve and the serpent kind of have their big ordeal. And the serpent, of course, is just this snake, but we find out later that it was actually Satan. But there's a prophecy buried in this story. Now, Greg talked a lot about this. I'm just going to kind of get to the gist of this, which is there is this promise that there will be a child of the woman, a descendant of the woman, and he will ultimately crush this serpent, who turns out to be Satan. And so that's sort of the promise. It's even on those first couple sentences of the entire Bible, there's already this promise, and it's already pointing to Jesus. But what's interesting there that Greg says, and he talks about how, look, this is just like an ancient creation story. It's there's a lot of kind of magical stuff there. I mean, the talking snake and all of that. And what we see here early on is God is accommodating to how these civilizations sort of talked about reality, and they told stories to explain strange things. I mean, when you think about a snake, it's a very strange creature. It's got no arms or legs, and it still moves all over the place. And it's, it's pretty productive for not having any limbs. I'll say that. And so how do you explain that? And why do people, especially females, get grossed out by them? And well, this is why, because of this story back in the garden, and which is not to say that there's no truth to the conflict. It's just, it's possible that this is what Greg calls an ideological tale. It's sort of just a story to explain otherwise unexplainable things. And now, if that's the case, if this is just a story that, even though it has these truths in it, it might not be historically true or whatever. It might just be a method of sharing a deeper truth. Well, then what you see God accommodating to the people and how they do things, even way back then at the very, very beginning. Now, in the second prophecy, he looks at Numbers chapter 24. And this is just a great story. It looks at, this prophet named Balaam, who was doing divination. He was doing the gimmicky type stuff, and so that this king, this foreign king, could have control over his army and control over this battle that he wants to fight against the Israelites, against God's people. And so he hires this Balaam guy to go and curse the Israelites, but he's not able to, because Yahweh steps in and says, "Don't do that." And then there's this big funny scene between Balaam and his donkey, where they get in this argument, and eventually Balaam says, "You know what? I am not going to curse these people because Yahweh is preventing me." And so then there's this prophecy where there's this prophecy that there will be a star that will come out of Jacob, and the star that comes out of Jacob will crush chaos, basically, the agents of chaos. And so from this pagan divinator, you get this sort of prophecy. And so it just shows again. So that's the what, but then the how is God is literally using this thing that he detests, that is divination, to work through it and to make this prophecy. And so what you see in both of these sort of prophecies is the way that the how that God prophesies is already pointing to how God always is, and that is God is always stooping to help his people. He is empowering from the bottom up. He is serving and meeting us where we're at, and you see that even right here. Then Greg kind of talked about, well, what do we mean by this star that comes out of Jacob? And so Greg talks about the morning star. And you see this in Isaiah 14:12-13, where you have this depiction of this angel, and this is Satan ultimately, who ascends and tries to rise up. He wants to be the morning star, the great light of heaven, but instead he is cast down because he is not the true morning star. He is an imposter, and because the true morning star doesn't have to ascend like that. He doesn't have to cling and reach up and climb. He is already God. He is the one who is and who was and who is to come. And so the true morning star is the opposite. The true morning star is the God who stoops, and so that's what you see in Jesus, and that's exactly what you see later in Revelation. This is where we come back to Revelation, where we're told that Jesus is the true morning star in Revelation 22. And really what God does here in an ultimate way, and this is how it all relates to Christmas, what God is doing to bring about all of this in Jesus, in baby Jesus, born in Bethlehem, and what happens on the cross there. You see this God humbling himself to be a part of this story, to be a part of this people. And what you see in this baby Jesus when he grows up is you see God. This is what God looks like. And so it's no surprise that this same God, this is what God looks like, the stooping, the serving, the power under, all of that is what God has always been doing. And you look back at even how the prophecies for this type of revelation of God is also this stooping bottom serving from the bottom kind of God. And then he just says, well, what should we make of all of this? And he takes 3 points away. The first thing is to just acknowledge the beauty of that stooping God, and just this idea that God is not what we expect. He's not the type of God that we would create. This is a God who really meets us where we're at. He doesn't boast, doesn't kind of swagger. He comes to us, and he's not made in our image. We're made in his, is the way that I would put it. The second thing that Greg says is that to just strive to own these prophecies, because it's really easy to kind of do charts and say, okay, this was said here and it's fulfilled there. And it can be very sort of mechanistic, but you have to see behind that is this loving God who is making you and me a promise. And we need to sort of hold that as this incredible gift. I have been promised this, and this, and given that God has fulfilled these promises, I should capitalize on that with more faith in the promises that are yet to come. And I think that that's very important. And then the third thing is that we should, in the same way that God stoops to meet people where they're at, we should also meet people where they're at, and we should enter into this world of others. We should follow the true morning star by serving, by loving, by not boasting, by not doing power over and all that kind of stuff, but to rather enter into relationships with humility and gentleness and all of that. That is my sermon. What'd you think of the sermon?
Very nice, Dan Kent. I really enjoyed. I'm just going to say, big picture, the whole service. I just want to give kudos to, because here in Minnesota we had gotten some weather, and you don't know when that happens, who's going to be around and who's going to be able to be there, and people still came, and people were excited, and the place is looking festive, and I felt like the worship team, it was beautiful and just really amazing. And then, like you said, that the bumper, the video that leads into the sermon, so great. I love it when you see all these moving parts working together. And then to start the series Fulfilled, I thought Greg did a great job. I was actually thankful that he took some time at the end to talk about what prophecy is and is not. And because I think, I don't know, maybe in our day and age, we kind of have the woo thought about it. And I thought it was wise for him to kind of unpack that a little bit. And it caused me to remember, like, when he was telling the story about Balaam, the prophet in Numbers, like, that dude, listen, prophets weren't always popular because they were kind of like paid to say, I'm being pretty crass, but many times they are kind of paid to say what needs to be said to kind of push an agenda forward. And those who were true prophets of God, who sometimes had to say some harsh things, weren't always received well. And right. So I'm not going to bag on Balaam too bad, because it could have been dangerous for him. But, he ends up arguing with the donkey, and just the whole thing cracks me up. But I appreciated that. And then, okay, talking about the snake, this is such a diversion from what we're talking about, but I have to tell you this story. I am said female that cannot stand snakes. I just don't. And years ago, in Texas, in my church, in my office at the church, I was working, and my dad was in there, and we were talking, and then the snake comes crawling in, and I freak. Now, our church property was built on a 40-acre pecan orchard, and so when you building on said ground, there are going to be rodents, I guess. And so a snake comes into my office. I freak out. I jump up on my desk. My dad freaks out. He jumps up on a chair. My mom hears the screaming, and she comes in, and she's like, oh, dear God. And she grabbed the snake and just takes it outside and flings it into the field. And I was just like,
oh my goodness. Oh my good! What kind of snake was it?
I have no idea. A scary one is all I'm
Was
going to
it
say.
making rattle noises?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah. So the warrior woman, my mom is, she
Wow.
just scooped it up, took it outside, and flung it into the field. And I was
Wow.
just, I thought then and there, I'm going to have to move, and I'm going to have to move as far away as I can. And Minnesota was the place. So
Now this was down south.
Mhm.
No, what state was this in?
This is in Houston, Texas.
This is in Houston, Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did your church do snake handling? Huh? Well, they
Absolutely
should have.
not.
They should
I would
have.
have been running down the highway. You would never see me again.
Ye of little faith. That's all I have to say. No, we did snake handling in the church that I was saved in, but it was garter snakes, so it was it was different. It was different. So
Oh, even that. I don't care. I just not for me. Doozy doozy. Back to the sermon and the series as a whole. What I really appreciated was we know the Christmas story. We know, love came down in the form of a babe, of Jesus, and it was a total upside down fulfillment of so many promises that had been made for a long time, and we know that the way in which Messiah, salvation came was very different. Didn't come in power and glory and thunder and roaring, and didn't come, like kicking tail and taking names, but no, came humbly, as a baby, as a human. And so I love all that. We know that story. But to go to kind of to the beginning to say what we saw Jesus doing through his birth, Emmanuel, God with us, what we saw him doing then had been foretold, throughout the scriptures. And I just love that we're taking that look at it, like through that lens of like, these are the things that have been foretold, the promises, like you said, like people didn't always understand or fully know, or they interpreted it in their own way. But like what we see Jesus doing in his birth and in his life and in his death and resurrection is what has always been foretold. And it's just like this true fulfillment of all of these things. And so perfect name for the series. Mm-hmm. I love that we're taking this approach to Christmas. And I just thought it was a really good reminder of these things that God has spoken and the lengths by which he will go to meet his people. And it just shows, I don't know, for me, I was awakened again to his love for us, because he could easily just be like, ugh, like you don't get it, or oh my gosh. And like you said, like doing things that he despises, working in ways that he despises because he knows that that's what will speak to the people. That is just a love and a kindness, a grace that is almost beyond comprehension, but it's so beautiful. And so, I'm excited for how the series started and where it's going. So I say, good job.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the service was good. And, even like, I feel like we're really well put together in this series, because like even the slides, the verse slides and everything, those were great. I mean, there was some like thought put into there, and I think that was Hannah on our design team, and always does good work. But it's those little things that really make things festive.
Well, and let me just say, because I think people know this, you're always a part of kind of helping to craft the series. And there's other people that do that as well. But you guys, Christmas is like, we know the story of Christmas. We know. And so there's only so many ways in which you can tell the Christmas story, and then to make it a series that's going to last several weeks. And so I'm just honestly impressed by this angle and approach that we're taking. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, and I have to give credit where credit is due. This was mostly Emily. Emily came up with this idea. So
shout out Emily. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a great.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
Yeah. I was, I think I've done like 4 of the last 6 or something like that, or 4 of the last 5.
Yeah.
I was Christmased out I was Scrooge. I was punching.
You
I
were
was
gonna
punching the third
say
ghost. Is what I was doing. I was like, done with it.
you're gonna be like, we're doing an apocalyptic Christmas or
Yes,
nothing.
that's
So
right.
Emily's like, okay, let me come up with something else.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
Mm. Yeah. Well, as is usually the case, many times when we just start a series, there's not usually a ton of questions or feedback or anything that come in just yet. So we don't have any of that, but it will come, and we'll have plenty to discuss and talk about. I did just want to pose to you one thing, because this concept of Greg kept saying God stooping. We learned today that one of our staff members, that word just like doesn't resonate with her.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we were spending
What
time
did
trying to find
you
another
propose?
word.
Shooping? Is that what you
Yeah.
proposed? Is something?
It's a different thing.
Yeah, I guess I probably am. I'm not really in touch with the youth culture, so I don't know what that is. So
Yeah. Any whoosie. Coming alongside, God humbled himself. He comes alongside, meets us where we're at. Like, those are all
yeah,
different ways to say it. And so that is a concept I feel like that Greg has talked about in a variety of different ways and times, and bringing it up here again. And every time we talk about this, I know there are just some people who that's a hard concept for them to grasp. It's like easier for people to believe, and I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just saying, like, conversations I have had. It is easier for people to believe a serpent stood, but then it got cursed, and so now it crawls. A donkey spoke. There was all this violence and these awful things. It's easier for people to go there than to comprehend the idea of a huge, glorious, generous creator that will come down, lower himself to meet us where we are and to accommodate what we've got going on in order to reach us and to speak to us. That is hard for people to grasp. And I'm just curious if you have, like, in your time of talking with people, pastoring people, if you've had any insight on that, if you have any answers for that, or anything you think about that.
Well, I think my mind was going in like 6 different directions, and I did get
That's
a text
fair.
message question. So,
Oh,
yes, but let me
okay.
respond to that first. My response initially is just to empathize with the
Yeah.
perplexed sort of awe of this, and I think that, to be honest, like one of the big obstacles in my faith has been just the fact, this idea that God has stooped to our level, to humans' level, to make promises to us, to enter into covenant with us, to seek relationship with us, and just
Mhm.
this longing that you see in the Bible where God longs to dwell with us and to be our God, and we will be his people. I that's it's I my heart loves that, but it
Mhm.
is not something that's just, oh yeah, obviously that's the case, especially
Yeah.
in this universe that is just so big. I mean, it's just it's like you can't comprehend it. It's just too big to even
Yeah.
comprehend. And we're proposing, this is what we're going out on the street saying, that in this entire universe that is unfathomable, there's this one planet and there's this one species, and they're the ones, and it just so happens to be
Yeah.
us,
It's
that
just
God is entering,
lucky, yes.
and
Yeah.
luck, yes, yeah, whew, and but so I have that feeling, but at the same time, I also feel like that, on the face of it, that seems absurd, but I come to that absurdity with an equal absurdity. The fact that I even exist at all in this
Yeah.
universe, the fact that I can understand that absurdity. I mean, the ability to understand that level of abstraction is pretty shocking.
Mhm.
To be made up of inanimate substances, and yet to be able to contemplate the creator of the universe by itself is absurd. Like, if you were to just look at an exploding universe and all of the stuff, and to think that as this universe is exploding and expanding and burning and churning and freezing and melting and all of that, somehow this creature is going to fart out of all of that and be able to comprehend God. That's absurd too. And so, yeah, it is pretty shocking to think that God would stoop down to have a relationship with little old us on this little old planet in this big universe. But that's just one of many absurd things that we know for a fact are true. And so this is just another one that we can trust is true. That's how I would respond to that.
Yeah. And anytime, because, yeah, I'm with you. I have great empathy and understanding of folks that are like, or I don't know, or that's a little bit harder. It's just easier to believe in, the Zeus like God, and we need to line up. And because that makes sense. And yet I think about, on a much smaller scale, of course, but I think about people that I love and things that I would do for the people that I love. And even if it's an inconvenience, even if they aren't immediately receptive, and that's just little human Shawna. Like, how much more so with the God of all creation, want to love us and meet us in that way. And so that helps me. But it's glorious and it's beautiful, and it is part of the mystery of it, and part of the beauty of it. Like, God's not calling us to be puppets and just do all the right things. He's calling us to relationship, knowing full well how messy that is, knowing full well how we have loused it up throughout since time has been a thing and humans have been a thing. Like, we have from the beginning loused it up, and yet he still comes after us. And I just think that's beautiful. And Jesus is a fulfillment of all that. So you got a text question.
I did. Well, it turns out this is from my friend Dan, and he different Dan, not me. It's just,
not you. You're not texting yourself a question.
Right. I don't know if I would consider myself a friend to myself, just judging from all the dumb choices that I've made to me over the years. But I digress. He was just he was really struck by the distinction between these sort of these prophecies that are just meant to satisfy our own curiosity versus the covenantal promises. He thought that was very intriguing, and so we've already sort of talked about that, and and I think that not to say that God doesn't want to inspire us and strike us with awe, because we're told this in Psalm and in Romans, how look, the heavens can't contain the glory of God. You look at creation and the universe and you're struck by, this isn't random. There's an intelligence here. And so we're told that there is that awe and shock and awe just in the universe itself. Those who use prophecies to create shock and awe, that's not what God uses prophecy for. Prophecies are a much more intimate thing. They're meant for the people who are seeking God. They're meant for those who are earnest, who want the true God, no matter what that looks like. And because the true God is the true God in the midst of a hard world, and so the promises are for those of us who endure through that hard world and continue to seek God. And it's one of my favorite things to say. We're told over 100 times in the Bible to seek the Lord like a treasure, to seek his face. And there's a reason for that, because it's hard. And for those of us who continue to seek, we have these promises, and those promises aren't to impress us. They're meant to inspire and encourage us onward in this hard journey.
Yeah, I love that, Dan. And just the hope and the encouragement piece of it, because I think because the Creator is aware that in this world you will have trouble. And so he's just doing all the things to be like, hey, I see you, I've got you. And you're not flailing about alone. We can take heart because he has overcome the world. And so I just think that's beautiful. And yeah, I'm encouraged by it. Looking forward to the rest of Fulfilled. It's going to be good. So I encourage you all to continue to tune in. I know it's a busy time of year, but I think you'll be blessed by it.
I agree. Yep. I agree. Double stamp.
I know you've got a different microphone set up, Dan, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to ask, do you think you can? No, oh, he can do it. Nugget time. Nice.
Yeah.
We've already determined, it's been foretold that Dan's going to nugget first today.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you need to get your act together because mine's going to be quick. I just have this verse.
Okay.
I just have a verse I want to read, and it's from the Psalm and the Psalms, and it's Psalm 56. And I just really love these two verses. It's Psalm 56, verses 3 and 4. This is in the NIV, the NIV, and this I think is David. And David says, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust and am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?" And
Amen.
I just love that. And part of that when I'm afraid, I put my trust in you. Well, what are you trusting in? Well, the promises. He is trusting in all of the promises that God has given him. And when he trusts in God, he is not afraid, because in this life you will have trouble, but take heart. And David was already doing that. He was already doing that. So
yeah,
that is
so
my
beautiful.
nugget.
I love it. My nugget, I believe, I want to lean into Greg's number 3 closing point when he talked about entering into the world of others. It's not about power over, but power under. And he said, love opens doors in a way that shouting never can. And that just gripped me because I feel like our world today is so loud, and many times loud wrong. Like just and it's just like, who can be the loudest, who can be the bawdiest, who can be the most powerful with their words. We've talked about this like on social media and stuff. It's like, this person destroyed this person, they owned this person. It's like, oh, they had a disagreement. I don't know what was destroyed or owned, but there's just this volatile language, and it's just so loud. But love opens doors, and I am just asking the Lord to show me, just in small ways throughout my days, during this series, during this season, how can I enter into the world of others, and how can I be a door opener versus one that's just shouting and trying to get my point across? Because I feel like that's what Jesus does for me. He makes a way where there seems to be no way, and he is that firm foundation, and he is that help in time of trouble, and he is the one that will calm our fears. And so if we are to emulate him, then we should strive to do and be likewise. And so I just think this is a powerful time of year. Like I said, people are busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that's trying for our attention, and there's a lot that can get us riled up. And no matter how justified you think you may be, look for opportunities to be a door opener and just to enter into the world of others. That's my nugget.
That's a good nugget.
All right. Well, Dan Kent, I think we should say thank you to the people and let them know when they do have questions or when they do have comments. Not everyone can just text you like your other friend Dan did, but they can send an email to where? There it is, musecast@whchurch.org. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing. There's so much going on, so many good things, and we hope that you'll be a part of those, from the Make Spaces Bright campaign to the different activities we're having to the Christmas Eve service that will be a in person and live stream. Like,
we're busy.
Just, yeah, we are busy. We're going to need a bit of a vacation after this.
I agree. Or some extra Christmas cookies just to get us through. Just to get us through. To take the edge off and to push us through. That's
Listen, this is what I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Dan. Don't tell anyone. But we will be having our Coffee and Connections as per usual on the third Sunday. But we're also going to have coffee and cookies, sweeties, before our Christmas Eve service.
Nice.
I know. Nice. So we're gonna
that's a secret. We're not sharing that with anybody.
We're not sharing that. No.
So, okay.
Don't tell anyone.
All
That's just
right.
between me and you. So, all
Sounds good.
right. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thanks for being with us. Take care.